I kind of wrote these as lyrics, so I'm going to try hard not to sing. Not going to
You
sing.
can sing it if you
No,
want.
I'm not. Not solitary, but on my own. I took the help that I needed and I did the rest alone. There was no model to which I could aspire, no one like me ruling over their empire. I did the math and brought it to fruition. 2 pounds of 2 pounds of faith and a ton of ambition. The choices I made are my responsibility. Good, bad, and ugly, they all belong to me.
Welcome to Unsentimental Letters, a literary podcast where writers join me, Edwin Canizalez, to discuss their poems, songs, essays, and literary pieces they built out of real life. Then read them aloud with me. This is part honest conversation, part live performance, the work and the stories behind it all. Guest today is Mandy Franklyn. She has invented something I don't have a clean name for. Prose-poems that score grief with music. She builds a scene, accumulates emotional weight with the precision of a filmmaker, and then lends a lyric like a key change. The songs arrive exactly when the feeling can no longer be held in prose alone. It's a form that requires total honesty about how emotion actually moves in a person, and she deploys it with complete control. Something I recognize, but I'm not capable of imitating. Even if you read her work before, trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for this one. It's gonna be a totally different experience.
How did you come about that when you combine all the prose and it's a part of anecdotal, it feels like part fiction, and then you let the music sort of like carry the reader through the whole emotional trip that you take.
This is actually pretty easy for me because music has always been super important in my life. And I communicate a lot through music, even though I never learned how to properly play anything. I've always said, like, I have a soundtrack to my entire life. And there's just songs that I know this is true for most people that just take you back to a certain place. And every time you hear them, you go right back to where you were at that time when they were, big in your life. And so when I was writing and I would think about, certain instances, all of my work that I've put out is so far has been memoir. None all of it's true and things that I've experienced myself. It was very easy for me to connect these moments with songs that are important to me, and if I guess put an underline on these experiences. So it just happened really naturally. It was a way for me to join two things that I just love so much because writing and music are absolutely my two favorite things.
It comes instinctively, but then you end up creating something different,
Yeah.
and then people like me start fanboying you. So that's kind of great. I wanted to do an experiment. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I would like to try it. I would like you to read a piece of yours, and then afterwards, without any transition, I would like to read another piece. And the reason why is because I think that your piece is an answer to your piece, or maybe it's the other way around. I feel like maybe your piece is an answer to my. I have no idea.
They
I
talk
don't
to
know,
each
but
other.
they talk to each other. Yeah,
Mm.
they live in the same universe. The piece is called "Soundtracks Star-Crossed." So if you want to take it from there,
In San Diego, it wasn't cool to date a Marine. Jarheads, crayon eaters, devil dogs, Uncle Sam's misguided children. Haircut high and tight, freshly shaven, lean, fast machines, emphasis on fast. Cocksure and often drunk in public, you could spot them a mile away. I found you at a bar in Tijuana. You were wearing a blue 26 red tread ball cap with white stitching. It hid your regulation haircut. I can still picture that hat in my mind's eye. Behind wire rimmed frames, downturned eyes softened the intense gaze of your light blue irises. The lenses made you look sophisticated. That would prove to be true, but not in the way I expected. You looked at me hungrily. I was ready to be devoured. Hello, I've waited here for you ever long. It was just for fun, nothing serious. You can't have a serious relationship with the Marine, but you kept showing up with those eyes on me. I loved the way you looked at me, always hungry. Friends talked shit, but I didn't care. I was too busy reading our astrology charts. The stars were clear, a whirlwind romance that will leave both an impression on both. The truth of it was already known to me. I held it quietly in my heart. Breathe out so I can breathe you in. hold you in. You had me take your car so I could return to base each weekend, assurance that you'd see me again, but also a big gesture for someone you weren't serious about. Maybe this was more than we professed. Remember that night at downtown Charlie Brown's? We had the whole bar to ourselves. The conversation was meaningful. We spoke like children sharing secrets. Later, we slept in a room at MCRD, our lean bodies sharing a twin bed. I was drunk and sleepy when I told you I loved you. You rubbed my head and said, "Go to sleep," then wrapped your body around mine. That was all the response that I needed. And I wonder, when I sing along with you, if everything could ever feel this real forever, if anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I ever ask of you, you gotta promise not to stop when I say when. Days were spent driving up and down the SoCal coast, music loud and the sun shining on us. Nights were spent running wild or just hanging out on base. The times I slept over were like summer camp, laughing and bantering from bunk beds. Your friends became mine. We were a merry band of heathens, and music was everything. I was so invested in you and your world, the stakes had gotten higher. As much as I wanted to be the one to leave an impression, to be the best memories of your young adult life, I could not imagine living without you, without this. Cody lip-synced into a broom handle one night. The song played loud from the stereo. He was facing us, performing. We cheered and sloshed our beers, but the words stuck in me. I wonder, how's it going to be when you don't know me? How's it going to be when you're sure I'm not there? Time would reveal that you were more damaged than the exterior showed. You were so angry, but also hungry. I loved that hunger. 6 months is a long time when you're 22. That time would change us forever, but we kept hanging on. I had started to believe I could be more than just the cool girl from your past. Why didn't I walk away then? How could I? I wonder, how's it going to be when it goes down? How's it going to be when you're not around? What started out as holy became turmoil. Your downturned eyes always seeking someone else. I died 1,000 jealous deaths watching your hunger turn away from me. Want to get myself back in again, the soft dive of oblivion. I want to taste the salt of your skin, the soft dive of oblivion. Still, I clutched you to me fiercely. You were supposed to love me. You were supposed to choose me. You were supposed to prefer me to anyone. And sometimes you did. The flashing moments of the us before kept me hanging on. Years of friendship, a decade of tumult, an illogical devotion, my identity, all with you. I'm only pretty sure that I can't take anymore. Before you take a swing, I wonder, what are we fighting for? When I say out loud, I want to get out of this, I wonder, is there anything I'm going to miss? 13 years after we met, the love that consumed the best years of our lives was on life support. I finally made the call. You didn't contest. That was the final wound. I had been losing you for a decade. When something is as bright as our beginning, it takes a long time to fade out. What is better, a fast, brutal ending or a long, slow death? I had chosen the latter. The question that the song had been asking, how's it going to be, would finally be answered. And at 34, I was finally ready to know. I got surprisingly emotional.
Yeah, me too. It's January 1st. I rose from sleep like a pugilist breaking the surface. Lungs full, mind rinsed but unclean. No shadows under my eyes for once. A morning made for emptying what I had carried too long. Distance has been doing its work quietly. So has the slow honey-colored dawn spilling across my balcony in Alicante. And the coffee, sharp, dark, threading its way through my veins until the world settles into focus. A year has passed. You entered my life one autumn 2 years ago and were gone by the next summer. A storm that never asked permission to land. I gathered the poems I wrote for you, the joyful ones and the ones that revealed the ache, and fed them to the flame. Their ashes folded into the soil of something new. The old world has become my new world, though you no longer live inside it. You disappear in September, silence since. What became of your life? Or whether my name ever drifted through yours, the way yours drifted through mine. When I spoke it aloud on certain mornings, wondering if the sound reached you or tangled itself in your hair as the wind passed. My thoughts did not return to you until today, a day made for offloading, for clearing the decks for for beginning again. I've spent too much time alone, so much that I've grown fond of my own company. I slow apprenticeship of liking myself. I have no advice for you. No one has lived long enough or clean enough to offer you any worth taking. So I walked to the beach and looked into the deep blue of Alicante Sea, the shifting hues that once softened the sharp edges of missing you. The waves crept up and touched my feet and tugged me as they wanted me back. But I stay where I was. All it took was the last memory of you losing its grip. So I don't know if you see the parallels, but
Oh yeah.
I see it clearly. I actually read your your prose again the day I wrote that poem. It was really interesting, mostly because everything's neutral to your perspective. I
Hmm.
feel like from your end, you know, there's this relationship, but you chose to end it. And from my end, is like it just the end was chosen for me.
Right.
You know, time just chosen for me. So, I wanted to know what your thoughts are about just this experiment just now.
Well, I thought it was funny because I think that neither one of us really got to choose. I mean, I got to decide to walk away, but mine was already over, when it happened. So it was chosen for me too. It just was slower, whereas yours was kind of more immediate. Somebody just left and left you hanging and holding the bag going, wait, what happened? Right. And mine was just like this long, slow death that I was constantly trying to keep alive and trying to get back what it started as, but it wasn't chosen for me. I just finally said, okay, it's over. It's time to walk away. So I don't think either of us really got a choice. I mean, I guess I could, and I could have walked away sooner, right? Well, at least in theory, but
Hmm.
it was never something I was going to do. I mean, all of that was supposed to it happen the way it was supposed to. And so, I don't know how much of it was a choice at the end of it or even at the beginning. It just, these are the things that happen and it was gone. So it's just time to move on.
There was a line that really got to me, and any great lines make you think of great lines from other people too. But you wrote, "I had been losing you for a decade. When something is as bright as our beginning, it takes a long time to fade." And immediately I thought of Pablo Neruda. Immediately, his poem number 20, when he says, "Love is short, forgetting is so long."
Mm.
And he made me wonder too, even these things sort of linger around and they never go away. But do you have any other thoughts that cross your mind through this exercise?
Just that you had mentioned that it brought to mind a line from another poem and how like love is short, but you said the forgetting is long. Is it or is the remembering? Okay, so that makes a lot of sense to me too, and it made me think. I don't know how old you were when your romance came to be and when it walked away. For me, mine started when I was quite young still, and so I think that is true. Like that love at that age is such a fleeting thing, at least in the way that it shows up, right?
Hmm.
We're just not equipped to be able to evolve that love into something else. And so, yeah, especially when you're young, I think that's absolutely true. That love is very, very short. And even if you stay together, it's going to evolve and change, and it's not, you're never going to have what it started as. And that was my mistake, right, as a young girl too, is just not realizing like it's not going to be like this always.
Right.
It's going to morph and change, and of course there's other things that happen, unfortunately, that just weren't going to let us evolve together. But yeah, it's just that part of that love, the beginning of love, is very short. And but love can be very long, and love can linger. It's just going to take different forms. So if you can't grow with it, then yeah, it leaves, and it leaves something with you forever. I don't think you ever stop loving anyone that you ever loved completely. That love changes, but you're always going to love them. I mean, I still talk to this person. He helped me raise my two children, right? So we have a relationship, and it's more now, it's like, I think of him almost like a brother. So, and I feel lucky that I can say that now. And that's the great thing too about writing, is you can get to distill this emotion. None of that. I don't have any of those feelings for this person now at all, but I can definitely connect to those feelings in the way that they manifested in me when all of that was happening. That was probably way more than you wanted to hear.
No, no, I love the transparency. No, this is exactly, I mean, I don't know what to expect, right? So this is exactly what I want out of this experiment we're doing right now. I need to be honest about one thing in the interest of transparency. My poem is based on my novel. I recently learned from other people, I don't know if this is an actual thing, but from a group of writers that is, if there was something to call it, it's I'm a method writer according to them, and what that means is I get into the character's feeling and then sort of express it, right? So on the novel that I'm trying to publish right now, it's in review right now, but I'll bore you with what happens there. You'll buy the book when it comes out. But
yes, I will.
no, I'll send you a free copy. But you'll be one of the 3 people that reads it. But in the story, I sort of thought in January I wanted to write something about new beginnings, right? And I thought about the character, the male character, who ends up moving Spain. He leaves the States, moving to Spain to try to get over this big love that he experienced with this woman. So when I read your piece, it was really helpful for me because it brought all the worlds together. It brought the reality of the world of the novel for me together, and those feelings, and I was able to apply them from your stand, because the reflections of your story is closer to the age of those people than mine right now.
Oh, cool.
Now, having said that, the work that you've done actually brought, the reason why I think it made me think when it brought me back to my very first crush.
Oh yeah.
With somebody, which I know offline I mentioned to you who she was, and I'm not going to mention it here, but so that'll remain our secret. But I was a kid. I mean, I fell in love with Neruda when I was 12. I had a big crush on this girl when I was 12 and a half. So it's great to read your work and imagine how many people, and often people may think boys don't have the emotional capability to do this, but some of us do. Be able to look back and so realize that as you get older, that experience meant something. It was something, but like you said, it sort of needs to sort of stay there, because if it were ever to develop, it would have developed into something totally different, right? Like grown-ups. Right. But there's a lot of beauty in that episode in people's lives, but it does take a really long process to sort of find logic behind it and say, okay, that belongs here, and now I'm going to move on this way. But I can still sort of cherish all that experience that I had, because I don't think I will be the person that I am today, intellectually and emotionally, had I not had that experience.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm curious, what do you think about your own?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think all of us go through heartbreak, and that you do learn. And I think it's been said ad nauseum that you never have a love like your first, right? And it's true, because you're going in there like not knowing anything, and you're not experienced anything. And so it's a beautiful and also very tragic and sad thing, right? Because you lose your innocence in so many ways. And so you just have your guard down when that first big love happens. And then, most of the time, 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work out forever. And then, you have to suffer through that loss. And I think you learn the impermanence of everything. I think that's also what makes it so beautiful. It's like life. It's just, it's a little micro thing of life, like where it's not going to last. You just enjoy it while it's there, because it's going to burn out and it'll be gone, but you'll be at least left with all of the light and the energy from it, that you can then later write really sad poems about when you're in your 40s. So
yeah. Love is short, forgetting is long, right?
That's right. That's right. So, and then we've come full circle.
So now, one of the things I love about Substack is that we have all kinds of people from different generations, and somehow we find common denominators.
Yep.
The one common denominator that I wonder often if it's there is this. You describe an experience that I can relate to. AI and technology has sort of changed the dynamics of how people meet and interact with each other and develop relationships. And then it also includes a lot of bad actors doing some, really terrible interventions to young boys as early as 8 years of age through gaming. And the ones that save themselves from becoming extremists or becoming hateful people against women are the ones who, around age 12 or so, get a girlfriend, like interact with people from MI5 and FBI and all those people and researchers, and all of them say the same thing. The solution to extremist behavior and early intervention for all these young men that do gaming is for them to get a girlfriend.
How about
Because
that?
as soon as they get a girlfriend, they become normal. They're not going to bomb a building when they grow up or kill animals as they're growing up. So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
So what do you think has changed now with the as far as developing dynamics like the ones that you experienced or I've experienced growing up? That was more analog and it was more sort of you figure out yourself with your own brain.
You said it all. Everybody is communicating through technology. There's not a lot of face to face, there's not a lot of, you have to walk up to somebody and be rejected, because I think there's lessons in that. And you have to learn, like, life's not going to say yes to you at every turn. And sometimes it's going to hurt and you have to put yourself out there. I mean, those are lessons that go beyond just romance. Like that's for anything. If you want to be a success, you have to be willing to be vulnerable, put yourself out there and understand that somebody might tell you no. It makes a lot of sense to me that the boys that largely are having these problems, they're not experiencing the young love and dating and falling for a girl and experiencing that softness and just they're emotionally stunted, so and I think it's true for girls too, because they're on their socials and they're trying to meet a certain beauty standard and everything that they post is just how awesome life is. Damn well, like I know what it was like to be 12, 13 years old. It was not awesome. It sucked.
Right.
And so it's not even, they're not living real life, which is heartbreaking. It seems like, at least, and maybe it's just the corners of the world that I'm in and the circles that I'm around, but it seems like there is a shift turning back to a more analog life. I've seen it from a lot of people saying, like we're going back to reality to escape technology kind of
Right.
thing, which is awesome. I think, bring back all of it, bring back like paper or actual books. And I'm sorry, but I really want to go back to Blockbuster and pick out a movie. I miss those days. Libraries, like, and just and meeting people and talking to them and seeing what they're all about. Like, I really hope we can get back to that. I know, and maybe we will. I think sometimes, especially with stuff like this, the pendulum slips one way and then it goes the other, and right now, I won't get into all that, but like the pendulum's really swinging wildly, so hopefully it starts to find some kind of homeostasis and we get to some sort of normal again. But yeah, it's very concerning how young people are growing up without these experiences, because even though they're hard, they're so valuable and they
Right.
really do make you a grown up. They teach you so much about yourself and about other people. So yeah.
So it's encouraging to hear that there are people, young people, who want to go back to analog. I'm
There
all for
are.
that.
Me too. I hope that, so it's just crazy how all of these wacko ideas have bled into real life, right? Because I think for a minute, I mean, if you're online all the time, you hear a bunch of crazy stuff. And for a while, it was like, okay, yeah, but that's like 1% of 10% of people, because that's all the stuff on Twitter. And, that's just concentrated crazy over there. And that's kind of what it was for a while. And I mean, it's still mostly, but it's starting to seep out into the real world. And that is just insane and so sad. So yeah, I mean, it's just like it's a constant battle between good and evil. You know, I mean, it's going to go on forever. And so all we can do is try to be the good and try to give young people, especially, like an option to interact, you know, face to face with people. I think I like what you were saying too. I feel the same way about Substack. I do get to interact with people of different ages, a lot of people younger than me. And I enjoy that so much. And I hope that they do too, you know. But I think it's important that we talk to people younger than us and let them know, like, there's another way.
This just shows that, if you want to, it's actually good for your own health to have friends who are 10 years older than you and 10 years younger than you. They benefit, but you benefit, like, for selfish reasons, if nothing else. You benefit from it,
For sure.
for your longevity. Comments made me think, and I'm going to change my behavior thanks to you now, Mandy. I'm going to try to do my part. I'm not the kind that thinks I can change the world, but I definitely have held the belief or subscribe to the idea that I can always change my part of the world. So I, starting tomorrow, I will do this. I used to get really crabby when all these young people will come to the vinyl record store and buy records that I really want to buy, just because I go to the local library store, my local used bookstore, and just be there, sort of like in my space. And that's true anywhere I go. Like I will get annoyed here.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, damn kids. But in DC, or go to, I was just in England, and then I spent a lot of time in Spain too. But you know what? From now on, I'll be better. I'm gonna reach out to them and ask them what they're doing, and if they're reading or they're creating, I'm just gonna say, you know what? Go ahead. You can.
Well, ask them about themselves, right?
Yeah,
people love to talk about themselves, and those kids probably nobody ever asks them anything.
True. So I'm gonna start doing that. Thanks, Mandy.
See, I love that.
I'm already a better person because of this conversation.
You're funny.
You do that to people. I love it. So I'm hoping maybe you could share more of your reading. Specifically, there is one I really like, the one Baby Brother. It's very long, but I would love for you to read one part, the part where it starts with, "I knew I had seen my brother for the last time," and then in response, I'll read a piece of mine, but instead of reading the end of mine, I'll read the beginning of mine, and then we can talk about our reflections on it, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, for sure. I knew I had seen my brother for the last time. He reached out once or twice after that, but it was because he needed money, and I told him I was tapped. I was, financially and emotionally. My heart was broken, knowing the kids we were had been lost forever, and we'd never spend another night laughing our asses off together. You thought God was an architect. Now you know he's something like a pipe bomb ready to blow, and everything you built, it's all for show, goes up in flames in 24 frames. That last part was from Jason Isbell's 24 Frames. That's the song that I used for that piece.
Yeah, and it really carried the bridge into the whole, trajectory for this feeling that you took me. So I love it. And I picked up a pen to write about you, maybe to praise, to let others know, to try to name the way you helped me find the thread when I've lost it. I opened my notebook and dumped out the scraps, half thoughts, worn out metaphors, a hill of phrases that I used to mean something. I was looking for the right words. I got lost. The words don't come when the page stares back. My pen hesitates, my notepad slumps, my writing shrinks until I don't believe in it anymore. And then your voice. You, across from me, no fixing, just listening, just asking the question that clears my fog. I think of you, I wrote this for two specific people, my dear friend Robin and my dear friend Daniela, who
sound amazing, by the way.
Oh, I'm very fortunate. And interestingly enough, one of them is younger than me, and she just helps me see the world differently. I know almost more like a peer, which is really good because I feel like I'm a child sometimes when I behave, and she gives me focus or whatever. But
this is Robin about the the Edwin bingo.
Yeah. She's the one.
That was great.
Yeah, she tells me, what time it is every time, so I love it. But I see a lot of similarities on these two pieces, and I was wondering if you see any, and maybe we can talk about it.
Mine, obviously, I'm giving to my brother, and bailing him out over and over again. And in yours, your friends are giving to you. But the difference, of course, is that I am kind of tossing my resources and all of this into an endless well, a bottomless well. Whereas, Robin and Daniela, they know that they're going to get something back they're going to get a return on their investment because they believe in you, right? I mean, maybe they won't. Maybe Edwin, maybe you're not going to, maybe you're not going to sell
a
that book.
jerk.
At the very least, they know that you're going to do something with their time. You're creating something and they want to invest in that because that's never a waste of time, I don't think, creating. So they know that they're going to get something back. Whereas the whole time I knew I'm not getting anything back. In fact, I was basically losing. I'm investing to cut it off and say that's it and goodbye forever.
My instinct was to react similarly to what you said at first, and then as I was prepping for all this, I wrote something similar to what you just said. And questions that I wanted to ask you was, the conversation underneath is this: what do we owe people we love who cannot receive it, and what do we owe ourselves when that love has cost us everything and still fail? And I think that resumes what you have said. But as I wrote that, and as I started, I went back and reread your work, and then the perspective that I ended up coming from afterwards was, there's something very beautiful about unconditional love. And even if we don't get those questions that I just posted answer, there's value. And I wonder, do you feel that when people give, because this is about giving, I mean, like you said, in my case I'm receiving, in your case you're giving, but I mean, who wins more, the person that gives or the person that's getting it? I mean,
The person that gives. That's why people become codependent, right? And want to fix everybody's problems because it feels good to help people. I mean, that's also why it's such a great practice. Hopefully you can do it with people who are not toxic, cleaners, but it just feels good to help other folks, and you should if you can, right? So yeah, you're always going to win in that situation. And also the person that's getting the help, it comes with a debt, regardless of whether or not the giver states it or feels it or wants anything back. If you accept help or a gift, like you always feel a weight of debt. So always the giver is the one that gets the most benefit.
I think that the difference between adults and children is this: children, they feed off of love. They just consume it. That's what keeps them. That's their nutrient, right? Where adults, we give love. That's what gets you.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference, right? So but that unconditional love is really special. I think it's special when it comes from somebody who has who shares a bloodline with you, but I don't think it's any different than a stranger, because sharing the same bloodline with somebody, it's just an accident, right? No different than meeting somebody in person, right? Like, it's up to your heart to give that love and to give that support or whatever to somebody. It's not obligated.
That's true-ish. But the thing is, when you are blood related to somebody and you have a past with that person, I think it depends on the relationship too, right? But I promise you, I would not have done all of the stuff that I did just in this one instance for my little brother. I would not have done that for most strangers. It would be a rare thing. I mean, he benefited or not, right? Like, what did it really end up helping him in the end? But I did those things because he's my brother, and he called me, and I love him. And that's something that I think is one of the best things, and also one of the worst things about me is, if I love you, I'm showing up, like I'm getting it done. So some people call that codependent, I call it love. So, but I can't say that I would have done that for a stranger. Maybe a stranger under the right circumstances, but I do think it's different when it's somebody that you love.
thing. As a father, I can relate to what you just said.
That's a whole other thing right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll go to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
Set yourself on fire.
Yeah, I mentioned that there's no love like the first love, right? And I believe I subscribe to the same idea. You will discover love the second time around in your life when you see your child being born, because that's when you realize that another human's life is more important than your.
Are blood ties that I have that I would not have done any of that for. So, it goes both ways.
Originally, I wasn't going to include this piece. I was very intrigued by it. I wanted to like have coffee with you and like just sit and talk to you just about this alone. For
we should definitely do a coffee show. That would be so great.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And everybody who tunes in will have to get coffee too. Coffee talk.
Coffee talk. Yes. I have an acute sense of autonomy, which is probably not a good thing. So to be able to publicly say thank you to people I appreciate is hard for me, and I'm sure it was very difficult for you to write that part of that piece of memoir. But because it was so heavy, I wanted to talk about it. So I kept going back for it. I was like, let me dump it in and see what happens. So I'm glad we spoke about that.
Me too. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, one of my favorites too. I don't know. I have too many favorites of yours.
You're fine.
And I was wondering if you wouldn't mind starting from the first line that you had, when I'm 40 something, and then I would like to read a little excerpt from a fiction piece that I wrote and share with everybody on Substack called "A Perfect Day in New York."
Okay. It is after 8:00. I'm not at work, and the kids are gone for the night. I can't stand to sit still, alone. When I am 40 something, I will want to sit still and be alone. You call me, then come over. We call more people, pool our cash, and leave to pick up beer. And the answer's always waiting at the liquor store, 40 ounces to freedom. So I take that walk. This is a lyric, by the way, from 40 Ounces to Freedom by Sublime. So that's the song that I'm tying into this. Soon the kitchen and living room are animated with friends and lovers, ex and current. My favorite music plays loudly on the stereo. The stereo holds 3 CDs, has a colorful light display with a digital equalizer and a super bass option that is never turned off. When I am 40 something, I will miss that stereo. It burned up in a fire at my mom's house when my brother left a cigarette smoldering on a mattress. I couldn't afford to replace it. Friends sing along with us to our favorite songs. Young men flirt with their girlfriends' friends. Sometimes they do more. The infidelity of the young is comical. And you look so fine. When you lie, it just don't show. But I know which way the wind blows. Our bodies are infused with the elasticity and vitality of youth. We don't know how beautiful we are. We will learn later. When we are 40 something, we will know that all young people are beautiful. Step out onto the back patio, light a cigarette. I keep notebooks. All of them are filled with the funny and poignant things said in these hours. I carry one with me throughout the night, jotting down the best of our ramblings, and sometimes I recant an old one out loud. Everyone loves this. Our inside jokes, immortalized and remembered. One day, they will live in my novel. My novel. Will I ever write it? Will I ever do anything with my life worthwhile? How can I get there from here? These questions make me sad, and my beer is empty. When I'm 40 something, I will know this time was not wasted. The fridge is empty too. A 40 ounce to freedom is the only chance I have to feel good even though I feel bad. I sound the alarm and call for volunteers, collect the money, send the courier, step onto the back patio, notebook in hand, light a cigarette. When I am 40 something, I will want to be young and beautiful again, smoking a cigarette on my apartment patio while Sublime plays on my Iowa. Oh, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. God knows I'm not going back.
That's lovely. And just to give you background, in the story, the male character gives the female character a notepad where actually gives him two notepads, and they have this vinyl cover, and he has written a poem for her, and then she reads it and reflects on it. So this is the part where she's just finished reading it, and then so that's sort of like the scene. Okay, Zoe didn't speak. Her eyes stayed on the page. Then her shoulder began to tremble. At first, Dean thought she was laughing, that soft, breathy kind she did when something hit too close to home. But then she closed her notebook. placed it gently on the bench, and leaned into him hard. She wrapped her arms around him and buried her face in his chest, and she cried. Not a tear or two, she couldn't blink it away. Something had cracked open. The poem had reached a place she'd been trying not to name. Dean didn't say anything. He just held her, let her cry. She took a tissue out, cleaned her eyes, and said, "You know me so well. I love how you see me. I like how you see me. How do you do it? You speak about me so matter of fact, and it's so me somehow." Dean pulled back just enough to look at her. Her eyes red, her face open in a way it rarely was. "All I've done is pay attention to the things I pay attention to." He paused. "You know, you." Zoe looked at him, the way you look at somebody for the first time while you're remembering everything about that person all at once. "New York is so much better with you, Dean." Then she leaned back in, resting her head on his shoulder. They sat like that on a bench above the city, surrounded by strangers, wrapped in something that felt like home. The rest of the afternoon and evening felt like a sweet blur. They walked the High Line, another first for her. She was quiet, taking it all in. The city stretched out like a canvas, and she was painting it with her eyes. They went back to Koreatown for dinner. Then at the hotel, Zoe took a selfie on the rooftop, her head tilted just slightly towards him. "It's worth breaking our deal about no cell phones this time. It will matter later." Maybe I'm just very narcissistic, but I do see a lot of synergies here, and I love it when I think about the two approaches that we have, and somehow how they sort of meet. Is that both of them share this preoccupation, this precise texture of a particular kind of perfect, like an ordinary day. They're simple things, but they're not, So what is your impression?
Well, I think what stuck with me is that both of them talk about, I guess, saving the moment. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was using my notebooks to write these things that my friends and I would say during the night. Most of them were useless, but some were really quite good. I wish I had all those notebooks now.
Right.
But and not even realizing in that moment, like how, even though I was recording so much of it, how much like that night or nights like it were going to mean to me later, and how much I would miss it and want to go back to it. And then, your character saying like, this is going to be important later, and they're also writing and keeping things in a notebook. And I know for me, the past is kind of my bag. I'm very oriented to the past. And so that appeals to me a lot. Just I've got, even around here, I've got artifacts decades before I was even born, and even throughout my life. So I just love that. I like marking. And I guess that's the same thing with what I'm doing with my soundtracks pieces, right? Like I'm marking these moments with this music. And so, yeah, that appeals to me.
A little bit of you and Zoe, and that's why I wanted to read this piece, because when she says, "This will matter later,"
Hmm.
and I read your piece, it kind of makes me wonder. And that is a question I have for you. I mean, at that time, right, when we're living this, I mean, did you imagine this will matter later? Like I should keep this, for the future. I mean, what was going
Not
through
in
your
the
mind
way
then?
that I do now. And I
Hmm.
think that's why I keep going back and saying when I'm 40 something, that because you do have a different perspective. But I knew I was actually just collecting them because I wanted to use them for my writing later,
Right.
It didn't occur to me that later on meant like that would have been awesome to go back and read these things, and probably even by friends who I wouldn't even remember now, right? Like it's crazy, isn't it? There's people that you could be so close to for a moment in your life when you're young, and then go decades, and then all of a sudden hear their name out of nowhere and go, "Oh my gosh, I forgot that that person even existed," right?
Right.
I had no idea, that I would want them that way. I just was trying to build up some some material for my future writing.
Right. By the way, on that one part of your writing, when you said, "Will I ever write that novel?" Oh, you definitely should, because you got definitely plenty of material to put some wonderful prose together.
Well, I'm working on a memoir, although you actually inspired me to start working on some fiction, which I haven't written fiction in forever. And that's really how I started writing when I was a wee bitty thing. I've got that copy paste story that I think every at least female writer has, right? As soon as we learned to read and write, we were in love with it. And so like third grade chapter books, and all of a sudden we were writing. And so I'm the same. When you were posting, you had like a teaser, and you had posted the thing about the Beatles song and asked us to guess what it was about. And so I did make a guess. And then you're like, no, that's a good guess. So I was like, well, that's great, because now I'm going to write about that. So I
Yeah, it's
actually
awesome.
did. I did start writing it. It'll
Awesome.
probably be a little bit before I get it done, but I'm working on my memoir. I'm not working on it as much as I should be, but I am working on that too. So we'll see.
Well, I'm humble that I was at all useful to you for that. That makes me happy.
Oh, I love
But
to read your stuff. Just FYI, like the fanning out, it's mutual for sure.
I'm really bad at taking compliments.
Well,
So
you're in good company, so we should just not compliment each other anymore.
you suck. No,
Yeah,
just
right.
kidding. That's so much easier to handle, right?
That was
But
your punk rock coming out.
I love that, and the piece that you just read, I just love it, because my head goes in so many places. And first time I read it, I wrote something, and I'm going to say it by memory because it's an unfinished work that I've just put on the side. But that I actually ended up giving birth to other things. I was trying to compete for this writing contest and to get published. And I wrote a poem about somebody, imagine a relationship with a woman that he loves. And he started being in love with her for 20 years, but he never told her. And
Yeah.
The way that came about was, well, I was talking to my friend Robin, and she was telling me, yeah, you should go for it, and try to write something. But she was like, but what? And then I remember that I had read your piece, and I remember that I had this little thing that I had drafted, and the piece says something like this: I want to take these memories and put them in a bank, and then I'm gonna do a withdrawal in the future. But I know, like, I'm doing this because this is nostalgia. I'm saving that I can withdraw in the future, so I can miss you. I wrote it after I read your piece, and I was like, I don't know what I'll do with it, but I'm like, I gotta put it on paper. Maybe instinctively, all humans do this. Like, we realize that there's all these little mnemonic devices like notebooks or records or whatever it is, and somehow we instinctively know in the future those are going to be the catalyst for us to feel nostalgic about a different time in our lives. And those people go from what I call, what's his nuts and what's her name, to like actual names and
Yeah.
people that actually meant something to you. So I'm glad you wrote it.
Thank you.
I'm glad
Well,
I
thank
really
you.
enjoyed it.
That made
But,
me think of something else too. Something that I do when I'm in a moment that I really want to hang on to. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, and it'll probably end up in something that I write soon. But I will literally just say out loud, like I grab whoever I'm, because it's always when I'm with somebody, So I'll like grab their hands and just be like, let's remember this right now. Like, look around us and think about it, and just take it all in, and let's not ever forget this. Just silly, like I'm a kid or something. But and it's worked sometimes. It is helpful if you actually grab onto somebody and say it. And so now I can actually think of a few times when that's happened, and I can recall that memory because I actually took the time to be like, I intentionally am going to remember this forever. But anyway,
I'm going to try that.
cool, because you can be in the moment. You're not trying to take a selfie and get everybody looking good. You just right then and there, just stop what you're doing and look at the other person. And it's like I said, it's always better if you can like hold hands or something and just say, let's remember this. Let's look around us. Let's take it all in, and let's just take a snapshot and keep it forever.
I have a bit of a pachydermic memory anyway, but I know the tactile piece will probably make me like really live it, and will probably become useful in the future. I like that. I was wondering if you can grace us with reading one more of your pieces, and we'll finish the conversation with that. What do you think?
I think that's great. If I can, though, I want to say thank you so much for letting me be your first guest and for letting me be on here at all. I mean, it's amazing to me that anyone's reading anything that I write. And the fact that you enjoy my writing means more to me than I can possibly tell you. So thank you, Edwin, so
Oh,
much.
thanks.
And the admiration goes both ways. I will say a few people, yourself, Monday, Helen, there's been some folks that have like were my first kind of Substack crushes, if you will, like people whose writing that I just really loved and I appreciated so much. And yours and Mondays in particular, like make me have to think harder than I'm used to, which is great. Mondays especially. But thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's reciprocal. So thanks so much for joining me. Seriously, I don't think I would have want to have started this with anybody else. I think you really set the tone for what I want to do here. That each of you, the people that I admire, sort of have taken what I call this sort of modern yogi journey into to finding yourselves, and you do it your own way through different types of expressions, and then you that people are best when people say, here it is on the table, look at it, you decide what you do with it. And so I really appreciate that.
You kind of said it best, and you said nobody's lived long enough or clean enough, right?
Right.
And that's just the truth. Like, I'll just
Yeah.
tell you my story. I can't give you advice because your experience is so completely different than mine.
I
To
love
learn
that.
from each other. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always learning.
I kind of wrote these as lyrics, so I'm going to try hard not to sing. Not going to
You
sing.
can sing it if you want.
No, I'm not. Not solitary, but on my own. I took the help that I needed and I did the rest alone. There was no model to which I could aspire, no one like me ruling over their empire. I did the math and brought it to fruition. 2 pounds of 2 pounds of faith and a ton of ambition. The choices I made are my responsibility. Good, bad, and ugly, they all belong to me. I could have made it easier, sure, but I did what I did and my name endures. Nobody was coming to my rescue, and that's okay. I didn't really want them to. Howling at the moon and running with the best of them, living on shared survival and adrenaline. I didn't know what I didn't know. Those kinds of lessons will make you grow. Odds stacked against me, but I'll always bet. I'm a sure thing, baby. Haven't lost one yet. Oh, 06 female to the depth of my core. They offered me existence, but I'm taking more. Somebody told me to stand back, clutch my pearls, cross my legs, quick talk and smack. But I wasn't built to stand against the wall. I was made for the fight and the curtain call. Don't need a man to take down my kill. I've got a chip on my shoulder and an iron will. My own stars map this path. I'm not a damsel in distress or a Sylvia Plath. My heart is tender, but it's full of grit. I don't speak surrender and I don't take shit. No excuses for my nature or apologies. I own every bit of my astrology. Howling at the moon and running with the best of them, living on sheer intention and adrenaline. Now I see where all roads end, that promised place my dreams portend. Odds stacked against me, but I'll always bet. I'm a sure thing, baby, haven't lost one yet. 06 female, and I'm still not done. They tried to push little lady, but I'm having none. I'm the leader and protector of my pack. I cleaned up all the messes and I took all of the slack. When they howl for me. 06 female, I'm the alpha she. Howling at the moon and running with the best of them, living on sheer intention and adrenaline. If you want it, go get it. It belongs to you. Pack your heart and your courage. Give them something new. Odds stacked against you, but you'll always bet. You're a sure thing, baby. Haven't lost one yet. 06 female to the very end. Mothers, sisters, mentors, all my friends.
Mandy Franklyn, you're a beautiful human being.
Likewise, Edwin. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us. And thank